Ms. Burgos, can you please call to order?
Trustees present are Calderon, Duarte, Aguilar, and Vizcarra. With Trustee Kim absent, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Mr. Cesar Rodriguez, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we continue, ¿hay personas que ocupan servicio de traducción? Is there anybody that needs translation services? We have... Okay. Tienen audífonos aquí afuera en el pasillo. Puede pasar y vamos a tener un intérprete aquí. Okay. On approval of agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Good evening, trustees. I'd like to request that one item be added to the agenda. It's a Calexico High School FFA trip to the state finals. This came to me today, to my desk this afternoon. Apparently there was some kind of a mix-up of documentation at the high school, and so they are requesting that the board consider adding this item to the agenda for approval so that these students can attend the state finals in Pomona on May 2nd through the 5th.
On whose part was the mix-up? Was it the club or was it the our district?
It was at the high school office.
Okay.
Correct, Mr. Pesquera?
It was not the club, it was more of a clerical situation.
Okay. So it's on us.
Separate
All right.
from the FFA that's already...
Yes, separate
in
from that one.
4B. Okay.
Is there any objections, board members?
No.
To adding this to the agenda?
Madam President?
Yes.
The motion to add should also include, according to the Brown Act, that the board determines that there is a need to take immediate action, and the need for action came to the attention subsequent to the agenda being posted. And it requires, with 4 board members here, the Brown Act requires all 4 to vote for the approval to add that item.
Okay. Duly noted, Ms. Burgos? Okay, is there motion to add the item as noted by Mr. Weiler?
I move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Calderon, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Duarte. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously to add.
sorry,
To
to
add
add.
the
Yeah.
item. Now
Do
we
we
will.
have any backup documentation? Okay. thank you.
Yes.
What item number will it be?
I'm sorry, I didn't grab one. It will be under consent. And where is the FFA one? Okay, we'll make it 4K. All right? All right. We'll move on to presentations. No?
Okay, we will start with student presentations, and we're going to start with Willie Moreno today with Daniela Cortez. And Daniela will start first. She's going to have a softball game that she needs to attend, so we'd like to accommodate her. We thank her for her presence. So go ahead, Ms. Cortez.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Daniela Cortez, and I am the school board representative for William Moreno Junior High. ASB announcements for the month. William Moreno Junior High students did an Easter bunny and egg activity during lunchtime activities before heading out spring break. Students played a game where they dressed up as bunnies and carried Easter eggs, water balloons, into a basket. Students enjoyed their noon activity. As soon as we returned from spring break, students were given a great assembly by the BMX Pro Riders. These great cyclists showed our students great bicycle tricks as well as bicycle safety. They also touched on the subject of bullying and tied it all together as part of the presentation. Students really enjoyed this assembly. They took pictures and got autographs from the BMX riders. ASB students started selling fruit bar ice cream and pizza as part of a fundraiser. They are trying to raise money to go on a field trip as a group to Soak City in Palm Springs. Excuse me. Thank you. William Moreno students who completed and met their AR goal for 3 quarters were rewarded with really cool I Read t-shirts. They were also awarded with nacho and cheese. Just last week, students at William Moreno participated in the annual math competition and was directed by Ms. Juliana Zavala. Both 7th and 8th graders participated in this event. This was the first year in which 7th grade students participated in the 8th grade math competition due to beginning algebra class as 7th graders. Way to go, Aztecs. Students are getting ready for CSTs next week and are very excited. We are going to be having upcoming Spirit Week and Moreno Madness. Details to be announced next board meeting. We hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you for your patience and attentiveness to our events. Go Aztecs. Thank you.
Go ahead and read the bios for your students of the month. The first one is Chexid Torres. I hope I said that correctly.
Shesir Torres. She here? Oh.
Go ahead and come up with your parents.
She is the daughter of Guadalupe Torres and Refugio Torres. Her favorite subject is algebra. She plans on attending University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA. She plans on majoring in nutrition. If she could change something in the world, it would be she would like to use her voice to encourage people to volunteer in helping other people that are less fortunate than them.
Congratulations.
And the next student to be recognized from Willie Moreno is Jesus Fletes Salazar.
He is the son of Juan Fletes and Antonia Salazar. His favorite subject is algebra. He plans on attending University of California, Los Angeles. He plans on majoring in psychology. If he could change something in the world, he would like to take some of his time to help people get through their hard times.
Thank you, Ms. Cortez.
Thank you.
We appreciate your presence tonight. Good luck in your game.
Good luck.
Oh, sorry. I'm not sure if Ms. Burgos wishes for a victory for her because she's on her daughter's opposing team.
Go Aztecs.
Well, good luck to them all.
I'm not biased, but go Aztecs.
Our next student representative is Ms. Valerie Ferguson from Aurora High School. Is she here yet?
No, she's not.
Will she be?
She said she's gonna be.
Okay, then we'll come back. All right, we will go with let's go with Calexico High School, and I believe it's Mr. Lopez. Aaron Lopez.
Yes.
He's standing in for Mr. Hector Teran tonight. And go ahead and read your report.
All right, good evening. I'll be filling in Mr. Teran for he was not able to attend today's meeting. On April 13th, Saturday, April 13th, we had our Relief for Life. Our ASB team raised a total of $2,529.65. And that was just our ASB groups raising money. The senior class did hold their first prom fashion show as a kickoff to prom tickets being sold. We also had our Bulldog Idol finals on this past Friday where students got to showcase that like to sing. They were able to sing in front of the whole school and they were judged and they were placed. Our CST window is between April 23rd, which is today, all the way to April 29th. And next Thursday, we do have our third and last blood drive for this school year on May 2nd. Our special prom is on May 11th, and this year's prom's theme is Casino Royale, and it will be held on May 18th. This year, we have 3 Bill Gates Millennium Scholars. We have Arlene Valdez, Victor Martin, and Jonathan Hurtado. The Mighty Bulldog Marching Band will be traveling to Disneyland to march down Main Street on May 3rd and May 4th. Our AP test window is from May 6th to May 17th, and our final payments for our grad night trip for the senior class are between May 23rd and May 24th. And do I say the bios for the students?
Yes, the first bio will be for Evelyn Gutierrez at Calexico High School.
I don't think she's present today.
Then go ahead and read her bio, though.
Okay. Evelyn Gutierrez is the daughter of Marcelo Martinez, Claudia Gutierrez. She is in 12th grade and has a total GPA of 4.4. She's involved in clubs, and she is the president of the Mock Trial Club, and her plans for the future is to attend UCLA and major in psychology. Her favorite things about Calexico High School are her teachers and her friends, and she would like to especially thank her family and God.
And the next student is Isaac Montoya.
Isaac Montoya is the son of Alfredo Montoya and Rosario Montoya. He's a 12th grader and his current GPA is 4.28. He is involved in clubs of CSF, NHS, Link Crew, and HOSA. He also plays in the school's basketball team. His plans for the future is to attend UCLA and major and attend the School of Nursing. His favorite things about Calexico High School are the staffs and the people. He would like to especially thank all his teachers and friends who have supported him. And
Thank you. No parents? Thank you, Aaron. And for Calexico 9th grade, Marisa Magaña Martinez.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marisa Magaña Martinez. My first announcement is students have started CST testing today. Testing days are Thursday and Monday. In order to promote the CSTs, Mr. Romero has stated every student may be able to remove 4 detentions if they attend school without tardies or absences. ASB is planning a last year pep rally for every athlete to announce every athlete. ASB is selling the 100-year shirts only for $10. You may buy them in room A4. ASB is also opening the Dog Pound, a ASB student store. That's it.
Okay, thank you. And our first student to be recognized is Andrea Carlos.
Andrea Carlos. Her parents are Arturo and Araceli. Is she?
Yes.
Yes. Carlos. Her favorite subject is English. She wants to attend IVC. Her major is she wants to major in teaching, and if she could change one thing in the world, it would end wars and make the world peaceful.
And the next student would be Iran Martinez.
He said that he was going to be absent, but his father is here.
Oh, let's have him come forward.
And mother.
And mother.
Great.
Aaron Martinez. His parents' names are Aaron and Benedrice. Benenice, sorry. Martinez. His favorite subject is English. He wants to go to Cal Poly. His major is... Oh, wait, he didn't write that. Sorry. If he could change one thing in the world, it would be violence. If he could change, I'm sorry. Thank you.
And we'll have Rogelio Gonzalez, a representative from Enrique Camarena Junior High School.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, and community members. My name is Rogelio Gonzalez, and I am the Enrique Camarena Junior High School ASB Vice President. I will be presenting the school report tonight. Our school report is the following. Our field day, club day, and softball competition was held on Thursday, March 28th, the day before going out on spring break. Students and staff showed their spirit by competing in a variety of class competitions. The event was a huge success due to the coordination of our ASB students and our ASB advisor, Ms. Rendon. Our Enrique Camarena Junior High School Relay for Life team had a special event on Thursday, March 28th at Chili's. 15% of all proceeds were donated to the Enrique Camarena Junior High School Relay for Life team. Thank you for coming out and supporting our team for this great cause. Our Enrique Camarena Junior High School Relay for Life team participated in the 2013 Relay for Life of Calexico held on Saturday, April 13th. Parents, students, and staff participated in this community outreach effort. The Enrique Camarena Junior High School Relay for Life team donated $1,005 to the Relay for Life of Calexico. We thank our team captains, Ms. Gamboa, Ms. De La Fuente, Ms. Diaz for doing an excellent job in representing our school. We had 2 California Teacher Association Student Scholarship recipients at Enrique Camarena Junior High School. Eric J. Vizcarra won the 2013 Written Essay Contest, and Roxana Jimenez won the Visual Arts Contest. Each student received a $550 scholarship. We thank all of our students who participated in this event and Mr. and Mrs. Cervantes for encouraging their students to participate. Our second annual Enrique Camarena Junior High School Pre-Algebra and Algebra School-wide math competitions were held on Wednesday, April 17th and Thursday, April 18th. The PIEs, made up of Manuel San Pedro, Daniel San Pedro, Jose Mesa, Germán Millán, and Jorge Villalobos, took first place in the 7th grade pre-algebra competition. The Crazy Parabolas, made up of Edgar Olea, Matt Lucio, Francisco Beltran, Sofia Alvarez, and Luna de Anda, took first place in the 8th grade algebra competition. Our students did an excellent job in forming their teams and putting their math skills to the test. We thank Ms. Mesa for coordinating the math competition events. Our general parent meeting and Student of the Month recognition celebration was held on Wednesday, April 17th. Students of the Month across different content areas were recognized. The multipurpose room was packed with parents and students that The multi-purpose room was packed with parents, and students were excited about receiving the recognition and awards. Our Enrique Camarena Math, Engineering, Science Achievement Team participated in the MESA Regionals competition this Saturday, April 20th at Imperial Valley College. Alejandro Cota and Ismael Arbizu did an excellent job in representing our school in the Balsa Wood Glider. We thank Ms. Diaz for doing an excellent job in coordinating our MESA students to excel. The Calexico High School Drumline and Calexico High School cheerleaders performed at our special assembly on Thursday, April 18th to help kick off CST testing by motivating and pumping up our students. Our students and staff were very excited about the performance and definitely felt pumped up and motivated. Our first Calexico Post Office non-perishable and food drive will begin on Wednesday, April 24th. Students and staff are encouraged to bring non-perishable food and items to help this cause. Students who participate will have an opportunity to win a nuke. If you would like to donate any items for this good cause, please drop them off at Enrique Camarena Junior High School's front office. Our first Spring Carnival will be held on Friday, April 26th. Our ASB clubs and departments will be providing our students with a variety of activities. We thank our ASB students and Ms. Rendon for coordinating this event. CST testing will begin next week at Enrique Camarena Junior High School. Our students and staff have been working hard all year in order to meet our targets. Students are aware of the importance of the CST test and how it affects their class placement for the following year. Thank you. Do I go on?
Okay, the first student to be recognized from Enrique Camarena tonight is Ashley Angulo. Is she here tonight? Yes, thank you.
Ashley is in 8th grade and is the daughter of Rosaura Ortiz and Antonio Angulo. Her hobbies are reading and her favorite subject in school is math. When she graduates, she would like to go on to university and become a doctor. And she would like to thank her parents for always being there for her and helping her to become better at school and everything.
The next student to be recognized from Enrique Camarena is Fabian Rubio Torres. Thank you.
Fabian is in 8th grade and is the son of Fernando and Marta Rubio. His hobbies are reading, listening to music, and spending time with his friends and family. His favorite subject in school is algebra, and when he graduates, he would like to go on to university and become an architect or an automotive engineer. He would like to thank his parents and all of his teachers for supporting him and encouraging him to study and do well in school.
Mr. Moreno, is Ms. Ferguson here yet?
No, she's not, but
Will you?
we do have the student of the month.
Yes, we do. So will you?
I would like maybe for her to read her own bio.
Oh, very good. Then we have Ms. Mara Baez from Aurora High School.
I would like that. It's very nice. It's a nice little piece, so I'd rather have her read it.
very good. Hi.
Hi.
I'm thankful for this opportunity given to me to finish high school in a short time. So Aurora High School helped me to be mature in many aspects. A few weeks ago, I thought that I would never finish with high school, and that made me feel sad. So coming from Calexico and entering from Aurora, I got everything changed. So I learned that nothing is impossible, and that if I want a better future for me and for my baby, I need to work hard in order to succeed. Thanks for Aurora High School, I will start college in August, and I will accomplish my goal in order to become a great lawyer. I just can say that I'm thankful and that it's a good honor to be a student of the month at Nuevo Aurora High School.
Very nice, very nice. Congratulations.
And the second student to be recognized from Aurora High School tonight is Jose Castro.
Yes, I don't think he's out here yet, but I will read it. Jose Castro is a student of the month for Aurora High School. He entered at the end of February, and he's had 3 main goals. One of them is to get his credits, then go back to high school, and finally graduate from Calexico High School. His hobbies include going to boxing training and passing time with his friends. For him right now, his major goal is that he wants to graduate because he's already 18. And so, congratulations, Jose.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno.
Okay, thank you.
So before we proceed to the superintendent's report, can we break so that they could have their cake?
Before, we have cake in recognition of the students tonight, but before we break, I'd also like to remind the parents of the students of the month that we've taken the pictures tonight, and you're able to get a copy of that picture, but also we'd like to post those pictures on our website. And if you are opposed to having your picture posted on the website, please let Mrs. Burgos know. And if not, it will be posted on our website. But thank you so much for your efforts and your accomplishments. And let's enjoy cake for a few minutes.
Hold on a second. Don't we have the band coming in?
That will be during the superintendent's report.
Okay, awesome. All right, thank you. We'll recess for about 10 minutes. Mr. Montoya? It's 44. And move on to item E, superintendent's report. Ms. Ambriz?
Good evening, trustees. Where's Mr. Calderon? Anyway, as you know, a few months ago, you approved the expenditure of band uniforms for Enrique Camarena Junior High School, and we have since received those uniforms, and we'd like, I know that the band parent boosters wanted to address the board very briefly tonight to demonstrate to the board and to the community the beautiful band uniforms that have been received, and they wanted to give you a special message. So, Mr. Gonzalez, can you have your group?
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Rosa Pina, and I'm the Band Booster President for Enrique Camarena Junior High. The reason why we're here tonight is to give thanks for your support in acquiring our band uniforms for our school. It's been a 4-year process, and I would like to thank the people involved, previous band booster parents who saw a need and initiated it, and the parents of today that saw it through. Now our kids can march down our streets proudly representing Enrique Camarena Junior High with the new band uniforms. And I would also like, can you turn around and show off your uniform, guys, to the people? Also wanted to thank for the container that we also acquired for band instruments and band uniforms or whatever we can, it was much needed at the school. So thank you very much for that container. And then kids, proud Firebirds tonight. Woohoo, thank you. Turn around and say, thank you.
You guys look great.
You do.
Very nice, so.
You look really sharp.
Oh, and also thank you for our band, our
You also
band director.
Do you have a feather?
You have feathers too? Yeah. Awesome.
Yes, they have plumes, but we just didn't want to overdo it. That'll be the surprise for parades. Also, we wanted to invite you guys to the our spring concert, which will be held on May 23rd at 7 o'clock at the De Anza School. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Piña.
About face?
I think they look beautiful.
They look great.
Okay, I'll continue with my superintendent's report. I'm going to have Ms. Betty Nunez, oh, there she is. Ms. Betty Nunez go to the podium. The anti-bullying campaign has started in Calexico Unified with Calexico High School. Mrs. Nunez will be telling you a little bit more about what's going on with the elementary schools. And, you know, she wanted to thank especially Ms. Duarte for the idea of the anti-bullying campaign. And so go ahead, Ms. Nunez.
And yes, Ms. Duarte just came up with a brilliant idea. We're going to go ahead and have our principals take one of our great posters that we see around here that is that was made from the high school art class from Ms. Treason's class. And they're coming together. We're also going to go ahead and start promoting the Stop Bullying or Stand Up to Bullying throughout all the schools. So it has to be the one that was made by the students. So we have 2 over here, we have 2 back here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over here. The other ones, we're going to start making them also in Spanish for our parents. But each front office each front office will have your Stand Up to Bullying poster. Of course, that's mandated also by law, so that whenever they come in, not only parents and students, but other people or other entities to our schools, that they see the anti-bullying posters. We're going to go ahead and start the what was it that you said, an art contest, and we are inviting you to be our judges for that. And we want to go ahead and do it either by grade level, so we have the elementary grade levels and then the junior highs and the high school, so we can create one poster per each grade level and eventually make some copies of those and start putting them around for next year. Thank you. Any questions on that? No? Okay, so principals, please take one of the posters that was made by the high school and please post it up in your front office. Thank you.
Ms. Moninger, you're not allowed to bully Mr. Nunez for those posters, okay? They are all equally beautiful. Okay, one of the topics that one of the trustees asked for us to talk about or investigate further is the 0 period possibility for Calexico High School in athletics. And so we have had the conversations with Mr. Pesqueira, and we're continuing to talk that as we develop our master schedule, and we are likely going to present to the board the feasibility and or probability of having a 0 period at our next board meeting. So look forward to that presentation.
And that includes tying it in with the academic requirement, correct?
Yes.
The after-school tutoring and so forth?
Yes. Then we have school site and student features on our website. I know that in previous board reports I've the Friday reports that I submit to you that we were revamping our website. So I encourage board members and the community at large to go to our website. There are some very small differences on there, but one of the important pieces about our website from before, though it was full of information, the human interest piece seem to be missing. And, you know, at the requests and suggestions of the board, we've asked our technology department to upload pictures of what's going on at the school sites or around our community that has to do with our students in particular. And you know, I have to thank the Imperial Valley Press. They've continued to work with us, and they've given us permission. We have to ask article by article, you know, picture by picture, but every time they post something in the Ivy Press, they and we ask for permission, they allow us to use those pictures on our website. And I encourage our principals to submit pictures as well. Having said that, I encourage the board members to visit all of our schools whenever they get a chance. You know, stop by the front office, check in with the principals, and maybe they'll give you a quick tour of what's going on at their sites. I've had the pleasure of going to 2 schools this week, and I had a great time today. As a matter of fact, I think a little over 2 hours with Mrs. Moninger, visiting a lot of her classrooms, a lot of great things going on there. One of the highlights was the sixth grade projects with the ancient civilizations. The projects that the kids put together are outstanding, and taking just about, the requirement was that they do a project about ancient civilization, but the most important thing about it was that it doesn't have to be store-bought projects. You know, if you find a plastic bottle and see what you can do with it, what they've done with tissue paper, styrofoam, cardboard, popsicle sticks, dirt, rocks, pebbles. I mean, these kids were creative. So if they're on display in the cafeteria on the stage. So if you get a chance, you know, I encourage you to take a visit out at Blanche Charles. And so, just so you know. And again, thank you, Ivy Press, for the positive press we've received lately with what's going on in our district. There was a question as to what's going on with the 100 years at Calexico High. I know that Mr. Pesqueira and his staff, he has a couple of staff members, but one in particular who's spearheading it, and that's Mr. Sayas. They've secured a time capsule, and there's going to secure a date in May to, I guess, put it together and have a little celebration go along with that time capsule. And there are other activities that they may be inviting board members to participate in terms of spearheading other celebrations. And so await Mr. Pesqueira's invitation. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have Dr. Katie Schneider from Pivot Learning come forward and give you a brief presentation on the services that Pivot Learning is providing our district in terms of the needs assessment, et cetera. And I think you have the backup documentation regarding this in your agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Albriz, cabinet members, and members of the audience. It's really a privilege for me to be here representing Pivot Learning Partners, and we view the opportunity to assist the district with the Date Needs Assessment as a real chance to help you analyze your strengths, look at areas of growth, and really celebrate what's wonderful in Calexico. That's very clear this evening. As a former music teacher, really warmed my heart to see those band uniforms and to see students honored for a whole variety of accomplishments at your schools. So I'm really very pleased to be here and to share our findings and recommendations with you. I don't think it would make a lot of sense to talk about recommendations and findings without just taking a moment to talk about how the district became a program improvement district, because that kicks into action some requirements from the federal government that I'd like to share with you. When a school district becomes a program improvement district, it means that a certain subgroup of students, or in some cases all students, have failed to meet the annual yearly progress requirements in language arts or math for a period of 4 years. And typically subgroups include groups such as English learners, students with disabilities, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, or other student groups with common characteristics such as common cultural heritage. In Calexico, this is your data from 07-08 to the last year that we have test data. And as you see in the target English language arts row going across, what the federal government required in 07-08 was that 34% of the students scored proficient on the spring CST tests, moving up in 08-09 to 45%, 09-10, when you did not have data because of that tragic earthquake, to 55%. In 10-11, the bar was raised to 67%, and in 11-12, it was a full 78% requirement for proficiency. So as you see, the target is becoming increasingly difficult to meet. What I've provided for you here is a summary of the proficiency levels, the percentage of students who scored proficient for the whole district, and also by significant subgroup. And as you see, we have groups performing fairly strongly, but even at that, if they didn't meet the annual yearly percentage target, it still caused the district to go into program improvement in the area of language arts. Just a little note, the Asian and white populations I included because I thought you might be interested in their scores, but those populations are not large enough to be considered statistically significant for these purposes. Here's the same data for math. Again, you see increasingly challenging targets, and you see strong scores, but not quite strong enough to keep up with those requirements. And again, no scores in the year of the earthquake. One of the consequences of becoming a program improvement year 3 school is that there is a corrective action that is invoked. And the corrective action that is typically being used in the state of California is what's called Corrective Action 6. And I've underlined some of the key pieces that occur because of Corrective Action 6. And these are the things that the district is going to be responsible for doing in the next few years, and things that need to appear and are being written into your revised LEA plan. One is implementing a new curriculum based on state academic content and achievement standards, which in this particular year has strong emphasis on Common Core. Providing teachers and administrators with professional development that we know is based on scientific research, shown to be effective in schools similar to Calexico with similar student populations. And the focus of all of this work needs to be on those high priority students, the students who didn't meet the annual yearly proficiency targets. As I mentioned, the professional development needs to particularly focus on Common Core as we all across the state, across the nation, move into a new set of standards in 2014-2015. Just to give you a brief overview of the DATE process, in the last couple of months we've done a needs assessment, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in the next slide. This tonight and in district meetings, we're sharing the DATE recommendations. We actually had our first DSLT, District School Leadership Team, meeting today. Great group of folks, really motivated to look at the LEA plan and make sure that we're actualizing the recommendations so that we see areas that have been addressed really moving forward. And another piece of this process is to build the recommendations into the LEA plan, and that will be coming to you for board approval in the next month. Throughout the DATE process, there's continuing monitoring of progress on the DATE recommendations, so you'll be getting reports at least quarterly, as will the California Department of Education, on the progress we're making in moving forward on those recommendations. There are 7 DATE standards, and they're listed here. And so my job as the project lead was to assemble a team of people who had expertise in each of these 7 areas. And the date findings, and in the report you'll notice that they're organized by the 7 standards, which relate to governance, curriculum and instruction, fiscal operations, parent and community involvement, human resources, data systems and achievement monitoring, and professional development. We really enjoyed our needs assessment process in this district, and I have to share with you that everyone we spoke with was timely and forthcoming with giving us data, artifacts, documents, being open and honest with us in the interviews. We did individual interviews with each of the site administrators, cabinet members, the superintendent. We had focus groups involving teachers and parents. We had classified representatives and certificated association representatives who were involved in interviews with our HR specialist, and we observed classrooms. Over 140 classroom observations occurred during the needs assessment process. We came up with 60 pages of data to share with you. Part of that is the methodology that we use, part of it is our findings, and part of it is our recommendations in each of those 7 areas. But what we decided would be most helpful, because in Pivot, we've worked with a number of districts across the state and actually beyond the state, is many times districts try and take on too much, and they try and do too many really terrific things. And as a result, they lose the focus on what really matters. So we had a pretty intense 8 to 10 hour meeting with our whole team. And we really wrestled with what would the things be that you would find most helpful and would provide you with the clearest direction for addressing your needs. And what we came up with was 4 areas that all focus on district systems. In the 4 areas that I'll describe briefly, we have many, many sub-recommendations, but all of those foundational recommendations are tied together under the umbrella of these 4 areas. The first area is we would recommend strengthening district systems that are tied to your district mission and vision. You have a beautifully crafted, beautifully thought out mission and vision statement, but tying your actions to that we feel could be stronger, and I'll talk about that in a second. The second one is refining your use of effective instructional practices, particularly as we look at 21st century teaching and learning tied to Common Core standards. The third one is really looking at the needs of our at-risk students, whether they're students with disabilities, Title I students, socioeconomically disadvantaged students, any students who aren't being successful in the regular classroom. We think it would be helpful, and we think your data shows that those students need additional support. The fourth one is to take a look at your district practices regarding how you approach English learners. As you know from the research, there are many ways to approach language acquisition, and we think it's time for the district to take a look at your current practices and maybe do some rethinking of your existing practices. So the first area, strengthening the district systems tied to the district's mission and vision, I tried to just encapsulate what we came up with in just a few bullet points, so I'll give you those. One is to make sure that there's sufficient district office staff so that the role of the site principal as an instructional leader is really honored. I don't think it's too strong to say that that role should be held sacred. The site principals expressed a strong desire to be more of an instructional leader, to spend more time observing and supporting teachers in the classroom. And with a very lean district office staff, sometimes principals are called out to meetings or asked to accomplish functions that would be better served in the district support role. We also felt that involving site principals in a PLC meeting format, which is a professional learning community, would allow them to share the best practices occurring at different sites with each other and give them an input on district priorities so that there's really a sense of collaborative leadership strengthened in the district. We also felt it was important as we revised the local education area plan and the single school plans, which I know you're approving tonight, that those really become kind of a menu for success, sort of a roadmap towards where are we going as a school, where are we going as a district, and making sure that the schools with the greatest needs have the greatest resources. We also feel that to build in more accountability, monitoring to make sure that what we're doing is really working. As I mentioned with the DSLT this afternoon, we may think something is a great idea, try it, and find it doesn't work. And if the data is showing that this isn't the way to go, then we need to make the courageous step and maybe go in a different direction. But we won't know that until we really look at our data. As I mentioned, we want to make sure we're strengthening the role of principals as instructional leaders and strengthening the role of teachers as teacher leaders and instructional experts. We saw some outstanding, just outstanding teaching going on in classrooms. And we also saw some cases where teachers would benefit from some coaching, some additional training, additional support. And so we want to make sure that everyone is getting the help they needed in their role, whatever that is in the district. The second major area was teaching and learning as we prepare for 21st century learners. Common Core standards, as you know, are based on what industry has been telling us. Kids are not coming out of school being able to problem solve. They're not coming out of school being able to write, to form an argument, to analyze analytically text, to be able to know whether something is a well-founded argument or not very well formulated. And so that's why we have Common Core. It didn't come from educators. It came originally from leaders in industry saying, give us kids who can do the things we need them to do in the industry. So we want to make sure that as we move to Common Core, we're helping teachers and helping administrators be really clear. What is it we expect in implementation? What will that look like? What materials will we be giving people? What practices should we expect to see in the classroom? There's so much out there. If you go online right now, you'll see literally thousands of Common Core resources. And again, to help the district focus, we need to be very clear in terms of what's a finite, doable set of expectations related to Common Core implementation. One of the things that I stress when I do training on Common Core in districts is that what we're really talking about with Common Core is plain, good old-fashioned, good teaching. But there's some new elements with Common Core that didn't exist in the past, and one is that the standards are rigorous. We're asking a lot of kids. We're asking a lot of ourselves. Children, we know from brain research, need to be clear about what they're learning so that it can stick to those synapses in their heads. Kids need to know exactly what they're learning. Too many times when we visit classrooms, we hear, well, what are you learning? Well, we're doing page 52. Well, page 52 is good, but what is page 52 helping you learn? So it's that kind of change in our approach that we're looking for. The second one is to check for understanding and adjust instruction based on students' responses. Even the best teaching, it doesn't help if students aren't getting it, and unless you find ways to check, you won't know if what you're instructing about is getting across for kids. The third one, and this is a big one with 21st century learning, is kids need to be highly involved. They should be the ones talking. They should be the ones working together. They should be the ones pushing the envelope. It's surprising to me when I visit classrooms and kids are empowered as learners, how far they will push the level of thinking in the classroom, more than we typically ask of kids, because with the CST era, we've been really forcing them or encouraging them to focus on what's the right answer. Let's get the right answer and move on. And with Common Core, it's not about the right answer so much as how did you get the right answer? Why is it the right answer? Maybe there are two right answers, which is the best of the answers. So this is the kind of thing you'll see with Smarter Balanced Assessment, and the kind of thing we need to start building into our classrooms to a higher degree. The fourth one is differentiating instruction, particularly because you have many English learners. They're having trouble, as your data shows, and you have students with disabilities. Should be an S on the disability there. And they need additional scaffolding, additional support so that they can be successful too. Again, to help you focus, our recommendation is, because there's a world of wonderful things you can do, we would recommend that you select 2 to 3 research-based best practices to implement over the next several years to increase rigor. And I've included some resources that figure heavily in Common Core. The depth of knowledge information, which is really quite exciting and is available on the web, is foundational to the Smarter Balanced Assessments that are being piloted this year and next. And that we want to make sure that administrators and teachers are getting training about implementing Common Core and the priority strategies that the district selects. The third area is support systems for at-risk students. Sometimes you can do a lot to assist students, but if you don't look at the data, you don't know if it really works. So what we're recommending is you look at your data and make sure it's giving you valuable information, that it's letting you know if your at-risk students are benefiting, and if not, maybe there's an adjustment that needs to occur. The second area is to really clearly define and publish a multi-tiered pyramid of interventions model, often called response to intervention, so that it's implemented across the district, that it's as strong at one school as another, and kids, whether at benchmark, which would be grade level, strategic, which would be slightly behind, and intensive, which would be 2 or more years behind, all of those students have their needs met in the classrooms. And the fourth area is, as I mentioned, examining district practices regarding English learners. I think because you have many English learners and you've had them for a long time, we didn't really pick up a sense of urgency. We picked up a sense of, yes, we have English learners and we're working with them, but where I picked up urgency was from the parents. The parents were just leaping out of their chairs in my meetings with them about how much they're counting on the district and how appreciative they are that the district helped their children learn English and help them with their academics. So our recommendation, as we look at having a collaborative culture and having focused conversations, we said at all levels, because these should involve parents, these should probably involve your upper grade students, these should involve teachers, administrators, district people, so that English learners not only are voiced as your top priority, but are supported with your policies, procedures, and fiscal support. And the second one is to use your data that you get, your data regarding progress of English learners, your CELT performance measures, and your other student performance data to look at how are students moving from Spanish speaking or another language speaking to English? How are they doing on the assessment measures? How are they doing in terms of being reclassified, so that we can start to shrink the numbers of students who have been classified as long-term English learners even into the secondary level? We also think it's important, as we look at students in the regular classroom, that we clarify for teachers and we clarify for administrators as they do walkthroughs in classrooms, what are the expected practices to support English learners? What kind of vocabulary development? What kind of sentence frames? What kinds of SEDI or Realia or GLAD strategies are we expecting to see? It's a little bit loose right now, frankly. It may be one thing at one school and another at another, but we're recommending that it be clarified and that there be a limited number of expected practices that occur across the district. And in support of that, training and follow-up coaching for principals and teachers. So in closing, I'd like to thank everyone. I've listed the people who were so helpful to us throughout the process. Everyone has been very responsive and open and willing to take a tough look at yourselves here. You have some growth areas, but you have huge strengths in this district, and I can't stress enough how much we felt the dedication and the passion for kids in every single person we talk to, and I know that starts at the board level and moves all the way down to the kindergarten student. So I really appreciate that. Be happy to take any questions.
Board members? Mr. Kim, do you have questions?
I wasn't here when they approved the pivot company. Is what I'm understanding, because we are was improvement district 3, so that's by the law we have to hire someone to oversee our performance. Is that correct? So regardless of whether we like it or not, we have to have some other entity to evaluating our job.
Yeah, that's part of the date requirement.
Okay.
You don't have any questions, Mr. Kim?
Well, that's my question. My main question was.
Okay. Mr. Calderon?
I have tons of questions,
Sure. I have lots of answers.
but no, that's fine. I'll just talk to you later.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do a phone conference or email or whatever. And Mr. Kim, if I could address your comment, I think and I'm just speculating here, but I think the legislation requires an outside entity just because sometimes when you're so close to it yourselves, it's hard to really see. Whereas if you have someone come from outside the district, sometimes they have a different perspective or they're not quite as close to the situation, so they might be able to help folks in the district see things that maybe aren't quite as apparent as they might be. I think that's the intent.
Yes, and I wanted to clarifying on why we hired the entity, but I want to confirm what I'm understanding. That's why my question was.
No, I appreciate that.
Ms. Duarte, do you have questions?
Yes. So the study that you recently did was going back to 2008? Or with the information that you received, was it going back to 2008 or was it going just to last year?
The information we received, actually the district received, was because of the number of years you have not met the program improvement requirements, you are now a program year 3 district.
Correct.
So we thought to be complete in our data, we would go back as far as made sense. So we went back to the point where you weren't in program improvement a couple of years so we could start to see some trends. If we'd only done a couple of years, we didn't feel, especially with that year where you have no data because of the earthquake, we wanted as a team to have a better understanding of, are you flatlining, are you dropping, are you growing gradually, and so that's why we picked that year.
So by looking at the charts, I see that our numbers did fall, but there was some improvement. And could that have been because each year the state wanted more? Was the scoring was higher, so we couldn't meet?
If the standard were in the 35-ish% where you started out, you would be out of program improvement. But because the federal legislation increased it about 10% every year, that's what knocked you out of the water, as it did so many districts.
I would think all the districts. Well,
and
the majority of
78%.
them.
I mean, how many districts can meet that for every subgroup?
Also on the and excuse me because I didn't have time to read the whole 65 pages of it. I wish I would have read I would have started with the findings. That way I could have had the questions, and I'll probably have more questions then. But you mentioned that the board had some questions. Who did you question, or did you reach to? Were you able to talk to this board? Or
I wasn't able to talk with board members, and I felt in the process I either needed to talk with everyone, so I had everyone's perspective, or not approach the board. And we were having some logistical issues getting communication with all of the board members and members of my team. So I felt to be equitable, we would just go with the superintendent, the cabinet, the principals, teachers, parents, and so forth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I would have more questions later as to this. But so when I read the findings and I read the investigation that you made in order to put this plan together, this is going to carry out for a few years, or to carry out, it's meant to carry us out of program improvement, right?
That's our hope. Now, since we don't know what program improvement will be defined as in future years, because it's all up for reauthorization. I mean, in 2014, we're supposed to have 100% of the kids getting proficient, and we all know that's not realistic. We don't know what program improvement will look like in the next few years, but what does happen is when Dr. Spencer brings the local education area plan to you, all of the date recommendations are built into that. In fact, there's a special template from the California Department of Education for program year 3 districts, so that their program LEA plans include the date recommendations, and that's a 3-year plan. So there's quite a bit of activity that we are starting to plan in terms of making sure that we're keeping these alive and in the front of our face, so they don't just say, well, that was great, put it on the shelf, and let's just do what we usually do. Also, we're required to submit a quarterly report to the California Department of Education on our progress. So there's a lot of accountability built in, but it's all built into that LEA plan.
Okay. So this year we've sent many teachers to Common Course trainings and workshops and stuff like that. I guess we're moving in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Right? And then hopefully at some point the board can get, because we haven't seen what it's going to be looking like or anything like that, so can we have a presentation as to what our students will be learning in the future? That's all I have, Madam President. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Zuno Vizcarra.
Thank you. Well, I have a couple of questions. Maybe my first comment, I think, is what surprised me the most from the report was how different our strategies are from school to school. It surprised me and alarmed me at the same time, because that I think we should look at that more closely, because if a school is doing better than another school, let's just say, let's sort of compare elementary schools. If one is doing better than the other, from a parent perspective, I'd probably want to rush my kids over to that school and think that that school has more resources, or the teaching mechanisms are different, or the principal might know something that the other one doesn't. So it concerns me that we'd have that as a district. So I know part of your recommendations somewhat address that, but I know the concern is in many of the findings that I read as I went through the document. It's sort of a repetitive articulation in what I read, that seems to be a common pattern in our schools. So along with that, I know we're looking as a board to approve a lot of technology and a lot of things that are going to, I think in our minds, help. But that's one of the things that I just want to point out that I hope gets addressed as part of the recommendation, how we work together as a unified district to make sure that we have all our students have equitable access to all of the resources, so everyone's kind of doing the same thing. My question is on community assessment and how that was conducted.
In terms of the community involvement area?
Yes, so there's some language in here on a community assessment that was made. I myself linked that to some language about us being a border town and the tremendous impact that us being a border town has on the scores that you see up there. And I think you see that in any area that was a border town and had a 98% Hispanic ratio to other races. So we're going to have, I think, the scores we have because we have such a tremendous English language learner population. So in your community assessment, I'm wondering what in terms of being a border town you took into consideration and what exactly that impact is. So I think if we get to the core of that, we understand what that impact is, we can somewhat, or with your assistance, we can assist our students better.
The thing that came up the most strongly in talking with parents is because you are a border town and because you have many students who cross back and forth, are active in multiple cultures here and in Mexico, the strength of the district and the ability of the district to help students become English learners, to help them be academically successful so they have options, so they can go on to higher education or whatever career field they choose, came through really strongly. The reality is you are close to the border. That's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just the reality. And that came up in quite a bit of conversation from people. And so we thought it was important to include that just as an objective fact.
So how we address then the challenges that we have of our border crossers, is that going to be implemented in terms of the recommendation? And will you also be providing technical assistance? There's a lot of recommendations here, and it's very heavy on the recommendations. So one of my concerns is how we as a district with, I don't know if I'm using your words, we sort of have a skeletal staff, how we would achieve all of that, addressing those issues, addressing all of the recommendations that are here. Will you also provide us with the technical assistance to make sure that what's recommended, number one, is equitable across all our schools, and that we're following it along kind of in a hand-holding stage so that everyone moves upward simultaneously? Will you also be providing that technical assistance then to make sure that these recommendations get followed up on?
Two responses to that. One is you have tremendous expertise within your district. What I think some technical assistance could help you with is to organize and focus the talent that you have. When I met with the district school leadership team today, we talked about that really is technically the body that is responsible for exactly what you're talking about, for making sure the plan stays alive, that whatever the needs are identified. The LEA plan does have some areas where technical assistance, not necessarily from us, but from any provider, is recommended. Obviously, there's a cost to that, and you don't want to be spending money on assistance when you could be spending it on kids. But sometimes you need the balance of both. So our recommendation is that we use that district school leadership team to work with your cabinet and your principals, parents, teachers, and so forth, and really identify where do you need help and where can you do it yourselves with just maybe a little bit of organization and clarity.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I share the same concerns that were expressed by my colleagues, so I'm not going to repeat what they talked about. But one of the things that stood out for me, again, was the data collection and use of it, that there's a need to have that be uniform so that we can, as you mentioned, check out trends, check out to see what patterns are developing. The other thing that that concerned me, and precisely because what you mentioned in regards is because we are a border town, and how much of our district student population needs that support. So I strongly agree that we need to make strong efforts to make sure our students have developed those strong reading, writing, and critical thinking skills, because that's what's going to get them into a good job market and or to higher education. So thank you, and let's keep working together.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ambriz? Any further on the superintendent's report?
That was it.
Get ready for public comment?
Yes, we will go to comments from the public.
Okay, all persons are encouraged to attend and participate in meetings of the Calexico Unified School District Board of Trustees. Please fill out the form available at the door and submit to the secretary or the superintendent prior to the meeting. Your comments will be heard with no action taken under the designated section of this agenda. For all presentations, the presenter will limit his or her presentations to 5 minutes. Public comments will be limited to 10 minutes total, and each board member will limit his or her comments to 3 minutes. Each presentation, including public and board member comments, shall not exceed 20 minutes. For the record, state your name, title, whom you represent, and the agenda item you're addressing. You're not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. The district will not respond to your comments at this time. Your questions, concerns, and/or input will be referred to the appropriate department.
Thank you, Ms. Ambriz. Ms. Leonor Velasco and Ms. Karina Sandoval.
Good evening, honorable members of the Calexico Unified School District. Our names are Karina Sandoval and Leonor Velasco, and we are here to express our gratitude to Calexico High School for helping us in our ESL research conducted by the Linguistics 550 class from San Diego State University. Calexico High School gave us the opportunity to conduct our English as a second language questionnaire on April 11, 2013 with the ELL students there. We would like to give special thanks to Mr. Isaac Strata, Director of Academic Services, Ms. Sylvia Yepes, ELL Coordinator, and Ms. Mary Lou Fletes, EAL Instructor at Calexico High School. The purpose and main goal of our English as a second language questionnaire was to hear from ELL students' concerns, ideas, and to receive feedback from their own learning experiences. We as future educators feel the need to reach out to the academic population in order to improve the quality of teaching by creating new innovative teaching techniques that will better prepare and help our students. We would like to thank you for the opportunity to help prepare ourselves to better serve the students in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Raul Ureña. I'm sorry? Mr. Ned Butner?
Annette Butner, parent, and I'm here to talk about, there's a pre-list, accounts payable, G3. On page, I think it's 13, 14, there's a payment for GCR LLP group for $20,000, I think $20,500 and some $1,000. We're paying, I guess, again, back payments like from a year ago to GCR, and this was on the last time it came up. So you guys need to check your I's and your T's, because you might be paying it twice. I remember seeing this, and I was the one who brought it up, and for whatever reason it's coming back up. But are we overpaying them, or what's going on? This is about a year old, and this came up a few meetings ago, maybe 3-4 meetings ago, the last payable list that you guys approved. So just just think about it. Check, do your homework, check up on these things, because they come up and you're approving these payments, and and people remember how you vote. So just keep an eye on that because, this is a year ago. We're paying really, really old bills. And if they're, for whatever reason, they didn't submit it before or whatever, we're getting tired of seeing this. We're paying bills from a long time ago. No. You guys, it all needs to be paid up, one lump sum or whatever, but get it paid. Because this is coming up. And you guys look bad. You guys look, looks fishy. Probably, I'm sure there's nothing going on, but it keeps coming up. So I'm just, giving you a heads up. It came up and it looks kind of weird. So that's just my question. Thank you.
Can you clarify?
For the record, this is not an old bill. This is a bill for services that GCR has performed for the month of January of 2013. So this is not an old bill. This is a current year bill.
Thank you. Mr. Ureña?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Raul Ureña. I'm a sophomore here at Calexico High School, and I felt the need to make this public comment to clarify something. At a previous board meeting, I expressed that school was boring for me, which it really is. So, Mr. Pesqueira, as well as our board member, Ms. Vizcarra, they thought that it was because of the lack of electives and programs, and no, I wasn't referring to that. I was referring to the misconception that people believe that education and schooling are the same. They aren't. You see, the modern schooling system, which is what we use, was developed in Prussia in 1806 for a specific purpose. This purpose was to indoctrinate the population to become nothing more than obedient slaves to the state. It is because of this that we have grade levels that are based on age instead of interest or ability. It is because of this reason that we are taught to obey authority at all costs without any reason, and it is for this reason that we are forced. We are not taught how to think, but rather what to think, and that's a big problem. It is also why we have a hierarchy at school, consisting of students, teachers, assistant principal, and principal, to make us used to that, pretty much. And so, speaking as an intellectual here, someone with a free mind, school to me is a living hell because of this approach. Every single day I run home from school and I turn on my computer or I dive into a book that talks about topics like philosophy, metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, politics, something that will actually stimulate my mind, unlike school. So there needs to be comprehensive reform in education to get away from this schooling and get it back to educations, because there is a big difference, and it's very visible here at Calexico High School as well as throughout the whole state. And if we're gonna have a comprehensive education reform, it has to happen here. It has to be a bottom up approach instead of something some bureaucrat in Washington is forcing us to do. So you as board members, you have to rock the boat. Make school interesting for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ureña. I have a couple of other things, but they're on the item itself. So, under public comments? So you want to switch it over to public comments and or what? Monica Valdivia? Thank you.
Buenas tardes, público y miembros de la mesa directiva. Mónica Valdivia, madre de familia de César Chávez, y estoy aquí para, como les entregué una carta, mi hijo está siendo acosado por otros niños. Qué bueno que tienen pósters y que van a entrenar a los directivos. Tengo un año diciendo esto al director de la escuela, comentándolo a varios maestros, mi hijo está seriamente dañado. Como pueden leer en la carta la entregué desde ayer hasta la fecha, en este preciso momento, ni siquiera una llamada de vamos a ver el caso, vamos a revisarlo, lo traje aquí al distrito, nadie se ha comunicado conmigo. Hasta el momento nadie ha tenido el valor de tomar el teléfono y llamarme. Mi hijo, el martes 16, cuando fui por él a la escuela, tenía el ojo completamente cerrado. Lo reportó a la subdirectora. La subdirectora no fue para llamarme. El niño duró 3 días con el ojo cerrado. ¿Por qué nadie avisa? ¿Por qué tapan ese tipo de cosas? Tengo 1 año comentándole al director, algo está mal con mi niño. Mi niño es de speech language delay. Le pedí varias veces que por favor me ayudara. O no tenían terapista, o no había quien le hiciera el examen, o todos son excusas. Y ya me cansé. Y como contribuyente no estoy aquí para pedir favor. Vengo a exigir que se haga lo que se tiene que hacer. Porque no voy a permitir que a mi hijo lo sigan dañando. Gracias.
Thank you, Ms. Valdivia. Ms. Ambriz, can you please look into this matter?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Item F1, sunshining of district's proposal to negotiate a successor agreement with CSEA Chapter 399. Mr. De La Rosa.
Good evening, administration and trustees. Right now, you can take action on sunshining the proposal, I guess, from the district. We're looking forward to getting started with the district and getting a contract going. I just wanted to briefly touch on a few things that I'd like to recommend to you, or point out a few things that maybe we can be a little bit more proactive in, considering the last negotiations that the district partook in with the teachers union. Okay, and then today's a good example where we had a student of the month, and the school reports from the kids here, representatives, the band presentation, all that kind of stuff. So we haven't started, but if things don't go so well in negotiations, and we anticipate a board meeting that has that controversial issues on it, I recommend to you to be a little more proactive than we were last time, and not schedule those action items where all the students are here and you have angry employees or angry public here, because City Hall brings to mind me where we had the meeting at City Hall, and it was horrendous the way everything went down there, and I don't want to be a part of anything like that. Okay, so if we can be a little proactive on moving things around to where we can keep anything away from me standing here at the podium, or any of the classified or anybody else standing here at the podium and bad-mouthing a board member or what have you. Okay, the other thing in front of the kids, the other thing that I wanna also point out is they have a seems like a pretty good negotiating team, the district administration, on your behalf, and I feel we have the same type of team, and I don't see any reasons that we can't what I would please ask the 5 of you who are here to please refrain from making comments that are maybe a little bit out of place, because you're not in the board, you're not in the room. You get a report, but you're not in the room, and keeping opinions, because sometimes you make the wrong opinion and it fuels a little fire that's not needed. Okay, and let the negotiating teams work things out. They come report to you guys and what have you. Let's just keep it nice and clean. Okay, we don't want to get to where we were last time. As an employee, it was pretty bad. Okay, and the grandstanding, people take opportunities to grandstand and stuff like that. And if you guys can just keep all that in the closed session when you meet with your negotiators, and we'd appreciate it, and you'll get the same from us.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Ms. Ambriz, how were we going to proceed on this one? Because I don't see the...
It's on the website, but it's not on the agenda, on our agendas.
Yeah.
I didn't explain. They were not included. Yeah, we don't have, it didn't come with our package. It should be, it's a one-page.
We didn't get it.
We didn't receive it.
What are we looking for?
Unless I mix.
Okay.
No, let me make a copy.
We'll take a 3-minute recess.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing that we have everybody from the board in the room, we'll reconvene at 7:56. Go on to
The sunshining?
sunshine. Yes.
Yes, we have the sunshining of the district's proposal for negotiations with CSCA. And before you, Mrs. Burgos has provided you a copy that was on the website. And it just says that Calexico Unified proposes to negotiate the following terms in a successor agreement with California School Employees Association. Public comments will be received at tonight's board meeting, regular board meeting on these items before engaging in negotiations over these subjects. We have 5 articles, and the first one is Article 3 of Employee Rights. In particular, the disciplinary action and appeal, review all aspects of the current language and propose modifications to make more efficient the processing of disciplinary actions to correspond with appeal procedures before the Personnel Commission. Article 5, hours and overtime, require compliance by all employees to work the existing defined length of the workday, review and modify overtime and compensatory time language regarding approval. Article 6, salary and fringe benefits, propose a modest improvement to the total compensation, including salary and health and welfare benefits. Article 7, health and welfare benefits, see proposal above regarding salary and fringe benefits. Additionally, modify language relating to the amount of employee PERS retirement contributions. Article 8, the term of the agreement, propose a 3-year successor agreement for the 2012-13 through 2015-16 school years. Additionally, propose reopener negotiations onto Article 6, salary and fringe benefits, and 7, health and welfare benefits for the 2013-2014 school year and 2015-2016 school years. Further, the district and CSCA may reopen up to 2 additional articles of their choice in each of those reopener years. This is the proposal.
Thank you. We had Mr. Chris De La Rosa in public comments. I don't have any other requests for oral communication on this item. So, is there a motion to approve? Motion by Calderon. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Zuno Vizcarra. Discussion?
Yes, when we approve this one, we approving the whole contract, or we just open for the process?
You're opening the process of negotiations.
Okay.
Any further questions?
And just for clarification, there is the Article 6 and 7 opening for 13, 14, and 15, 16.
Yes. Any further questions?
No, I was gonna ask about the what was it that we could open up for discussion, but I see that the salary and benefits, health and welfare benefits. So okay.
That's what we're proposing.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further questions? See no further questions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously 5-0. One moment. We move on to item G, consent agenda. Is there a motion?
I have to pull number 1, 3, 5, and 6.
All of 6, Mr. Kim?
Yeah, because I have some question.
I would like to add to that, please.
Okay.
4C, 4G. Mr. Kim, did you say 5?
Yes, 5.
That's it.
Other board members?
No.
2A. Okay. See no further requests to pull items. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of G1, G2A, G3, 4C, 4G, 5, and 6? Is there a motion?
Madam President,
Yes?
you had a question about 4E when you spoke to me earlier.
Yes, I did. I'm sorry. Pull E. Thank you for reminding me. Is there a motion to approve everything else? Motion by Ms. Duarte. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Zuno Vizcarra. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Item G1, Mr. Kim.
Well, actually, I want to have a separate voting. That's all I want.
I'm sorry?
I wanted to have a separate decision on these items.
Well, we are. We're going item by item.
Yes, because the consent agenda, I don't want to make the decision together with others. Actually, I'm gonna vote for the no. That's why.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve item G1?
I motion to approve.
Motion by Duarte. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Second by Calderon. Did you want to have discussion, Mr. Kim?
Well, I wasn't there meeting in the special board meeting, and in a way, I want to say no on the board. That's all I want.
That's fine. Is there any further discussion? See no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 No.
Motion passes 4-1. Item G2A. Mr. Kim?
That was me.
Oh, that was you. I'm sorry. Ms. Zuno Vizcarra?
More question for you, Maria. I know we've been approving for several meetings now, a lot of staff to go to Common Core staff development. We've, I know, spent quite a bit of money on staff development in that area. So my question or concern would be this additional consulting then coming in at a value of $10,000 and providing, I don't know what would be different in what this would be provided based on what the teachers have gone already to see. And I don't know, is it Dr. Estrada that put this on here? So just for clarification, can I request you give us an update?
Yes, I believe it's an item that was placed on our agenda by Dr. Isaac Estrada, but just I would think in further clarification that when we are able to secure staff development that can come to our district versus us having to expend a greater amount of dollars, categorical or general, by having them come here and further instructing us with regards to Common Core, we welcome those staff developments. Common Core is not though it's a welcome change. It's also a challenge because it's asking us to work quite a bit differently and so it's going to affect the teaching and the learning and the monitoring that goes with it. And so the more that we can provide in terms of professional learning opportunities to our staff, whether it's site and or administrative, teachers and or administration, we welcome these. But I'll have Dr. Estrada further clarify if you wish.
Thank you. And while he comes, would all teachers be part of this training? All teachers in the entire district?
I will let Dr. Estrada address that.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, good evening. The plan for right now for the training is to include all principals, assistant principals, and also some possibly our academic support teachers, definitely. And possibly I'm looking into the funding situation to include teacher leaders from each school site. So, and as our superintendent was saying, it's more cost effective if sometimes we bring them in here rather than going to another city and pay for other expenses such as hotel and transportation. So that's why we welcome any opportunity that we have to have consultants here and help us out with the professional development needs.
And I appreciate that. I just want to reiterate that I know we've already sent a lot of teachers out, and so how is this different than what they've obtained when I mean, we already make the expenditure. They already went out. A lot of them went out of town, I think, out of the state to a lot of these trainings. I appreciate people coming in here and providing the trainings. I want to state that. I just want to know if this is something different or if it's a different population, or these are administrators that are going to be trained, or
That's what he said.
all teachers. So I just want to clarify that. And I did notice that in addition to the $10,000 fee, I think we have to make copies of all of the material ourselves. So I just want to point out that we'd have to incur whatever cost of making copies of all the material. Do you know if that's a substantial amount of material that we'd have to copy?
I'm not sure to what extent we need to make copies, but I'm hoping that it shouldn't be that much of a cost to make the copies. And knowing that sometimes we can put it in an electronic format also saves some paper in that way.
Okay, so we just don't know right now, like a roundabout number of would this be for all teachers or just some?
Right now, the plan, again, it's for possibly teacher leaders, but for sure academic support teachers, principals, and assistant principals.
Okay.
And the other question in terms of how it's different, we're trying to move in the direction from creating awareness of the content standards or the new content standards, because it is a challenge, but also dig deeper into what those standards would look like in the classroom. So we're trying to take an extra step in also providing a long-term plan for our district and providing that vision to get us closer to the implementation phase. So that's why, in one way, that's how it's going to be different, the training for leaders.
Yeah, in addition, when we go out to staff development, professional development outwardly, even though they're excellent, we are one amongst many. Whereas when it's here, it's strategically directed at our district and our district's needs, and they could either go at a slower or quicker pace depending on our level of in-depth knowledge and understanding of the Common Core.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification, Manish.
I do have a question, Angie, on her comment. So, at this point, have we provided Common Core standards training to all our teachers?
Not that I'm aware of. I know that we've provided training on standards, and part of it has been done through ICOE, and which includes creating awareness of the instructional shifts. But another training is in terms of specifically addressing the new content standards or the college and career readiness standards, and that's another level of training as well that's involved. But I'm not sure to what extent we have had that training from all of our teachers. But the idea is to, if we train teacher leaders, then those teacher leaders can also provide that training to the staff.
Well, I think the same effort that we're making to train our teacher leaders, we should make that same effort to provide direct training, tailored, you know what I mean?
We do have our 3 staff development days at the end of the year that could be used, and I believe it's the intent of our site principals to go in that direction with our staff development.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I have nothing further.
Nothing further. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Vizcarra. Item 3G3. Oh, I'm sorry.
You want to go ahead?
Okay, so on item G2,
Hey.
G2A, is there a motion to approve?
I motion to.
Motion by Zuno Vizcarra, is there a second?
I will second that.
Second by Calderon. Seeing no further discussion, is there any further discussion? Seeing none.
They have during the business hour, school time, there's training.
Yes,
Yes.
it's a 2-day training. and-
Today
Today
training
training,
during
it
the
was
school
fall.
hours, so
Yes.
which is like normal teachers cannot be participating in that. Whoever participating, they supposed to be out of the class.
Yes, if there are classroom teachers that are a part of this, they would have, the teacher leaders would have substitutes covering for their classrooms.
Yeah, I think it's a good concept, but if we can bring like some Saturday, maybe lots of teachers can be participating. We pay almost same. And we can at least, though we can say some teachers they want to participate to learn there.
Absolutely, Mr. Kim, and when our end of the year 3-day staff development for our staff, we will include the general teaching population in the training that our principals will, and our teacher leaders and our academic support teachers will impart to their colleagues as well.
I do have one question. The total here is including the subs for the teacher leaders?
No, it's not.
So that's additional monies from the
Yeah, it would just
categorical
depend on-
funding or general fund?
It'll be categorical funding.
Any further questions? Seeing none, you've had a motion by Zuno Vizcarra, second by Calderon. All those in favor signify aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Item G3, accounts payable pre-list. Mr. Kim?
Yes, I believe the page 3 of 31.
Which page?
Page 3 of the 31.
Okay.
Atkinson, Anderson, Loya. That's professional service for the February. The 17,569 and 51 cents. Is that the accurate number we paying for this law firm?
Yes,
For the February?
that is correct, for the month of February.
Okay. And the other one is the page 12. And Eric Collins Associated.
Two?
Eric, page 12 of 31. Eric Hall and Associates.
Okay. Yes.
Why we still have to pay for the Eric Hall and Associate?
They are still working with our facilities department with the open DSA projects that we currently have.
They still keeping the contract for the facility.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And the other one is probably 14, page 14. And Ms. Bardino was mentioning about the GCL LLP, professional legal service for the January 2013.
That's correct.
And I believe January that we have Atkinson to be having service from the new law firm.
I believe Atkinson started either the end of January or it went to the board on in February, but GCR was still our attorney in January.
The January.
Yes.
Okay.
And there are still, just so that the board is aware, there are still items that GCR does handle for the district, but some pending cases that the district has.
What pending case?
Still litigations?
Yeah, I'm not at liberty to...
Student
yes.
litigations?
No. We can talk about it.
Yeah, I'm not at liberty to say, but there are some open items that GCR is wrapping up.
So GCL still hold the contract as a special counsel?
Just on those specific items that they had at the time. No new business or no current issue or new issue is GCR handling.
But still holding the special counsel positions?
I'm sorry?
GCL still holding the special counsel position?
On some of the open cases that they had, as they were still working on those, they do.
No, but I like to know that GCL has a special, still they're working as a special counsel, or they just remaining case?
This is a remaining case from
only. Not
yes, not
there are no new business issues that GCR is taking care of as of
when the
end
contract
of
was approved
January.
for Atkinson.
Yes, but
they are taking care of all.
We didn't determine that they're no longer special counsel. So anytime they still can step in, as long as we don't determine that they're the contract, they still stays as a month-to-month basis.
They are on a month-to-month basis until all of the matters that they are handling for us are completed.
But we didn't have anything making an agenda for that. We didn't make any formal decided. We didn't any decide
We
formally.
haven't terminated the contract
didn't.
with
No.
GCR.
Okay.
Excuse me. There's still open cases, Mr. Kim.
Yeah, I think that's my case. That we're spending over $20,000 for the GCR.
You said it's not.
We can't talk.
save money, Mr.
We can't talk about that. We can't.
Well, because I'm the open position, so in my cases I can talk.
Mr. Kim,
But
we shouldn't talk
litigation,
about
the way you cannot talk, but I'm open. I'm the public public.
No, Mr.
people,
Kim.
So
This
I
is
can
not-
say my case.
there's
I'm not going to say the details.
Gentlemen,
No.
Mr. Kim, do you have any further questions on the
Well-
pre-list
That's it.
or on GCR? That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve?
I have questions.
I'm sorry.
I have one question too.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Calderon, please
Okay.
proceed.
I want to go back to the one that Mr. Kim brought up on page 3 regarding, where is it? No.
Atkinson, Anderson, and Lawyer.
Yes, in the past, that fee had been a lot less. For what I recall, it had been something like 4,000 and something, and now it's. Did they do something else different
Again, we have some extenuating business that
that they took care of?
they are taking care of.
Oh, okay. Because in the past, it had always been 4,000 something like
We
that.
have extenuating business.
Okay,
Thank you.
that was it.
Ms. Duarte?
But are they, we're talking about Atkinson, right?
Right.
Yes. They are legal counsel.
No, not Atkinson. I'm sorry, not Atkinson. I was talking
Eric
about
Hall.
Eric. Yes.
Okay.
Eric Hahn Associates. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.